Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, January 29. In Squiz Kids Today, back to school we go. Running writing compulsory in class. Swim stars inspiring pep talk and another Tay-Tay record broken. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Are your shoes polished? Your uniforms ironed? Is your lunch packed? And do you know who your teacher is this year? Because after weeks of glorious summer holiday, thousands of kids across the country troop back to school this week. Kids in South Australia are back in the classroom today, and tomorrow it will be the turn of kids from New South Wales, Victoria, the Northern Territory and the ACT. I know. Those lucky ducks from Western Australia still have another week's holiday. But before you start complaining, spare a thought for Queensland kids who all went back to school last week. Wherever you are in the country, whichever day you go back, whether it's to finish Year 6 or to take your first tentative steps into kindy or prep, Squiz Kids wishes you and your parents all the very best. And remember, we're here for you now every morning of the school year ahead, keeping you company, keeping you entertained, and helping to explain the big, wide, wonderful world around you. While we were all away, there's been a whole lot of crazy summer weather. Heat waves, flooding rains, mini cyclones, and even big cyclones have ensured that Australians' summer holidays have been anything but dull. Yep, it's been a wild old summer weather-wise, and the back-to-school week for kids in outback Queensland is going to be especially wet. That's because Tropical Cyclone Kirrily bumped into the far north Queensland coast on Friday and has since settled down to become a great big rainstorm across much of the not-so-sunshine state. Many thousands of homes were without power over the weekend, and farmers inland were preparing for floods as Kirrily dumped record amounts of rain on an already soaked outback. What's that, you say? You'd love a Squiz Kids shortcut on the science of cyclones? Well, as luck would have it, we prepared one over the weekend, and it will drop in this feed first thing tomorrow morning. Because we like to give.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in California, in the United States, where a new law is forcing kids in school to do running writing. You've heard of running writing, right? It's also known as cursive or joined-up handwriting. And long before iPads and Apple pens and keyboards, back when I was at school, so in the dark ages, all school kids wrote out all of their lessons in actual books using real pens and pencils. And learning cursive was compulsory, which is a fancy word for saying everyone had to do it. Nowadays, each Aussie state does things a little differently, but generally when you're in Year 6, you'll learn to write with joined-up sloping letters. But by Year 7, you can pretty much make your own choice as to how you'd like to write. But now, the state of California in the United States has decided that all primary school students need to learn cursive handwriting, because they say it's good for developing something called fine motor skills and overall brain development. So, as you open your new pencil cases this week, remember, writing is good for your brain. Aha! It's our old friend, the classroom companion Clarion, signalling to all the teachers out there that Christy, Squiz Kids' very own fully qualified primary school teacher, has come up with a classroom worksheet on conversation and connecting, tied to this news item in the podcast. Curriculum aligned and ready to use. If you haven't yet signed up to Squiz Kids Classroom to receive these free weekly classroom resources, then get busy already. Head to squizkids.com.au and sign up now.
Sport time.
There was a heap of sport over the summer break, and even this weekend as the Australian Open came to a dramatic end and the Australian-West Indies cricket clash continued. But as kids all over Australia prepare for another year of joining sports teams at school or signing up to a sports club, today's sport time belongs to Olympic champ Emma McKeon, who on Friday was named Young Australian of the Year. Every year, a young Aussie who has achieved a lot or done a lot for their community is recognised with this important award. And as Emma took to the stage to accept it on Friday night, she said she wanted to inspire all Aussie kids to chase big dreams. "I want young kids to know that I was once in the same position they are, dreaming one day of doing something big," she said. "Don't be afraid to take on hard things and set goals that might be scary. This, after all, is how we push ourselves to achieve our dreams." Well said, Emma McKeon, well said.
Pop Culture Corner.
Well, it wouldn't be the start of a new year of kid-friendly news without a Taylor Swift story, now would it? With only weeks to go before Tay-Tay arrives in Australia to start her record-breaking live tour, comes news out of Pakistan of a die-hard Swiftie breaking a new world record for naming the most number of Taylor Swift songs in a minute. Random song lyrics from Tay-Tay songs were read out to 20-year-old Bilal Jandia, who managed to name 34 songs in 60 seconds, beating the previous record of 27. Now, that's what I call a Swiftie superfan. Now, excuse me while I go back to making my friendship bracelet.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What was the name of the cyclone that tore across far north Queensland over the weekend? Yeah, that's right, it was Cyclone Kirrily. Question number 2. How many Tay-Tay songs did a Pakistani superfan name in a minute? Did you have your listening ears on? Did you say 34? Well done! Question number 3. Name the Aussie Olympian who was named Young Australian of the Year this weekend. That's right, it was Emma McKeon.
Shout-outs.
It's January 29, birthday of TV host Oprah Winfrey and also of Oz Idol host Scott Tweedy. Plus, it's National Puzzle Day in the United States. For all of you out there who love a crossword or a find a word or a good old jigsaw. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Jack from Park Orchards, Asher from Point Cook, Eva from North Ainslie, Zoya from Mount Isa, and Hannah from Bundoora. And a reminder to the Squiz Kids who celebrated a birthday over the summer holidays to check the Bumper Holiday Quiz episode for the week in which your birthday fell for your birthday shout-out. For those of you who missed that cutoff, we'll announce as many belated shout-outs as we can this week. Starting today with Valentino from Silverdale, Oscar and Beatrix from Melbourne, Ellie from Northcote, Elspeth from Box Hill, Julia from Bilawa, Lilies from Glenfield, Frances from Faulkner, Rob from Aubust, Alex from Ringwood North, Ivy from Bayswater, Hayley from Newington, Ali from Montmorency and Isabel from Sydney. Don't forget too that classroom shout-outs will be back next week. And teachers, we suggest getting in early and submitting your shout-out request for the year so that you'll be right at the top of our list. Now, don't forget if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you want a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We're super excited to be back for our 4th fabulous year and look forward to keeping you company every morning of the Aussie school term. And don't forget, if you like what we do, tell your friends. Or even better, chuck us a like or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really important to help us grow and continue to do what we do. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.